The Amish grow double the food, without power, without machines, and one Amish garden trick here actually turned dead soil into a tomato jungle in just weeks. These old-timey farmers don't just garden. They conquer dirt using trash like banana peels, ashes, and even cardboard, feeding their plants while most folks feed the landfill. Let us take a closer look, because one of these buried secrets could ruin your entire harvest if done wrong. And no one talks about it. Buried peels and cardboard secrets. Let's start simple. Banana peels. Most folks toss them without blinking, but Amish gardeners, they treat them like buried treasure. Banana skins are packed with plant goodies. They're full of potassium, which is what flowering plants love most. Take tomatoes, roses, squash, all of them soak it up. You don't need anything fancy. Just dig a small hole, drop the peel in near the plant, and cover it. Over time, it breaks down and feeds the roots. Some gardeners dry and smash the peels into powder and store them for cold seasons. Others just bury the peels whole. Either way, it's nature's fertilizer right from your breakfast. And just wait till you see what they do with eggshells. There's another throwaway that works wonders. Coffee grounds. The Amish don't really drink coffee, but they sure collect the leftovers. Grounds from neighborhood shops are packed into sacks and spread across soil. Plants like blueberries and hydrangeas love it. The grounds add a touch of sour to the soil, which those plants crave. Hydrangeas can even shift color, becoming brighter and bluer just from the acidity. Plus, slugs hate sliding over it. Those gritty bits make their bellies miserable. You've got free mulch, slug repellent, and a secret bloom booster all in one. Cardboard might look like garbage, but in Amish gardens it's a workhorse. Flatten a box, rip off tape and staples, then lay it right between garden rows. Top it with some grass clippings or leaves, and suddenly you've got a weed barrier. It blocks the sun so nothing sprouts beneath. It keeps water locked in like a lid on a pot. Best part, worms love crawling under it, turning dry dirt into soft, rich earth. After one season, that cardboard melts into the ground, feeding it with bits of carbon. No waste, no weeds, just better soil. Composting sounds like hard work to some, with pitchforks and steaming piles. But the Amish do it the lazy way, with layers. They stack it all like a sandwich. One layer of green, things like veggie scraps or grass, then one layer of brown, stuff like dry leaves or old newspapers. Repeat it. That's it. No flipping, no stirring, just patience. Even things like eggshells, cabbage stalks, and onion skins go in. These break down into nutrients, turning kitchen trash into garden treasure. Eggshells especially are full of calcium, which keeps tomatoes from getting bottom rot. In the cold months, Amish homes burn wood for heat. When the fires go out, they don't toss the ash. They scoop it into buckets. That gray, powdery stuff is rich in calcium and potassium, perfect for tomatoes and fruit trees. A light sprinkle around those plants in spring gives them strength and flavor. But not all plants want it. Things like blueberries, azaleas, and rhododendrons don't like ash because it makes the soil too alkaline. For everything else, it's a free boost straight from the fireplace. Another trick passed down for ages is the Three Sisters garden. Corn, beans, and squash all help each other grow. Corn shoots up tall and strong. Beans curl around the corn stalks and grab nitrogen from the air, feeding the soil. Squash spreads wide on the ground, keeping moisture in and weeds out. Their leaves even scare off some animals with their scratchy stems. This trio turns a small plot into a powerful patch. The key is choosing the right kinds, older varieties that grow in balance, not the kind of corn that falls over or squash that crowds everything. Now picture a garden without long rows, just tight little squares. That's how some Amish families pack more into less. Take a garden bed and split it into 1-foot blocks. Put one tomato in a block, but 15 carrots in another. Each square is planted with just enough space. The leaves grow close, touching each other, shading the soil. That stops weeds, keeps the ground moist, and makes harvesting easy. No wasted space, no wasted time. Even a tiny garden can produce a pile of food this way. Sunflowers aren't just for looks. In Amish gardens, they stand tall on the north edge. This way, they cast shade just when the sun is at its hottest. Plants like lettuce, spinach, and other leafy greens love the cool. Shade helps them grow longer into summer. when heat would normally make them bolt. Plus, sunflowers bring in bees and butterflies. These flying friends help pollinate the whole garden, not just the flowers. More bees, more veggies. That's a win. It all starts with something people throw away without thinking. Coffee grounds plant. Caffeine, morning boost for your garden. Plants love a caffeine boost too. Amish communities collect used coffee grounds that would otherwise be discarded. These grounds benefit acid-loving plants like blueberries and azaleas while improving soil texture. They even deter slugs and snails who hate crawling across the rough surface. For hydrangeas, coffee grounds intensify blue blooms by increasing soil acidity, nature's free color enhancer. The cardboard trick, nature's weed barrier. Those cardboard boxes headed for recycling, they're your secret weapon against weeds. Amish gardeners lay cardboard directly on garden paths or around plants, topping with thin mulch. It blocks sunlight completely, killing existing weeds while retaining moisture. Earthworms love the environment beneath, quickly breaking down cardboard and enriching soil with carbon, a weed barrier that improves your garden as it disappears. Fireplace ash distribution. Winter's gift to summer gardens. Winter's wood ashes contain potassium and calcium your garden craves. A light dusting works wonders for calcium-deficient tomatoes, while apple trees develop stronger, tastier fruit. Caution needed though. Ash's alkaline nature harms acid-loving plants like blueberries. This perfect cycle, from tree to fire to ash to soil to new growth, embodies the Amish approach. Nothing wasted, everything purposeful. Build living soil that works for you. Amish-style compost layering, the no-turn lasagna method. Mention composting to most gardeners and they'll describe a labor-intensive process of turning piles with pitchforks. The Amish approach, much simpler. They've perfected the lasagna method, a no-turn composting system that transforms kitchen scraps and yard waste into black gold with almost zero effort. Instead of creating one large pile that requires turning, Amish gardeners build their compost in flat, horizontal layers. They alternate green, nitrogen-rich materials, kitchen scraps, fresh grass clippings, with brown, carbon-rich materials. Hugelkultur beds, how buried wood creates garden magic. Buried wood creates garden magic in this traditional technique, gaining popularity beyond Amish communities. Hugelkultur beds transform fallen tree limbs and logs into self-fertilizing, water-conserving garden beds that improve yearly without additional inputs. The construction is straightforward. Dig a trench, fill with logs and branches, add kitchen scraps and manure, then top with soil. As wood slowly decomposes underground, it acts like a sponge holding moisture for weeks during dry periods. The decomposition also releases nutrients gradually over many years, eliminating the need for regular fertilizing. During a brutal 3-week heat wave with no rainfall, my Hugelkultur experiment remained moist enough to keep plants thriving without supplemental watering, while traditional beds require daily moisture. Many Amish gardeners incorporate this method into steep or difficult growing areas where traditional gardening would be challenging. Mulch mastery. Finding free garden protection everywhere. Free garden mulch is everywhere if you know where to look. Amish gardens remain productive even during droughts thanks to their mastery of mulching with materials most people overlook. Fall leaves, chopped straw, grass clippings, and even shredded newspaper make excellent mulch that costs absolutely nothing. Applied in a 3-inch layer around plants, these materials dramatically reduce watering needs by preventing evaporation from the soil surface. Research from drought-prone areas shows properly mulched gardens produce up to 31% more food with the same amount of water. Beyond water conservation, mulch suppresses weeds, regulates soil temperature, and gradually breaks down to feed the soil. No store-bought fertilizer needed. Never leave soil bare, the cover crop revolution. Traditional Amish farmers understand this principle deeply. Never leave garden beds exposed to the elements after harvest. Instead, they immediately plant cover crops like clover, rye, or buckwheat to protect and improve soil during off-seasons. These protective plants serve multiple purposes. Their roots hold soil in place, preventing erosion during heavy rains. Their leaves shade the ground, suppressing weeds that would otherwise take over. Most importantly, they return organic matter to the soil when turned under before the next planting season. Winter rye is particularly effective with remarkable soil-improving properties. When planted in fall, it develops extensive root systems that break up compacted soil. By spring, previously hard clay soil often transforms into crumbly, workable earth with increased earthworm activity. Nature's way of plowing your garden while you rest through winter. Clay pot irrigation, ancient watering that works while you're away. Sometimes the simplest solutions have the deepest roots. This technique traces back over 2,000 years to ancient China and Rome. Bury an unglazed clay pot up to its neck in your garden bed, fill it with water, and place a lid on top. The porous clay slowly weeps moisture into surrounding soil, delivering water directly to plant roots over days or even weeks. This system works through soil physics rather than complex technology. The clay releases water only when the surrounding soil dries out, creating perfect moisture balance without electronic timers. During vacation periods, fill buried pots before leaving town and return to find well-hydrated plants, eliminating daily watering needs. The morning watering rule prevents 90% of plant diseases without chemicals. Traditional Amish gardens follow a strict rule: water in the morning, never in the evening. This isn't just tradition, it's science-backed wisdom that prevents countless plant diseases. When water sits on leaves overnight, it creates the perfect breeding ground for fungal problems like powdery mildew and black spot. Morning watering allows plants to dry completely before evening temperatures drop. This simple timing change prevents nearly 90% of common garden diseases without using any chemicals or sprays. Early watering has another benefit. Plants absorb moisture more efficiently in morning hours. Taking up water before the day's heat causes excessive evaporation. Amish-style rain barrels, capturing nature's gift. The sight of wooden rain barrels nestled under downspouts is common on Amish homesteads. These simple water collection systems represent both practical resource management and deep respect for natural cycles. Just 1 inch of rainfall on a modest 1,000 square feet roof yields over 600 gallons of water. Unlike municipal water, rainwater contains no chlorine that can stress sensitive plants. Its slightly acidic nature makes it perfect for acid-loving plants like blueberries. During dry periods, these barrels can provide significant benefits for both gardens and household budgets, reducing summer water bills by 50 to 80%. Set it and forget it. Soaker hose systems that save hours. Efficiency in the garden means working smarter, not harder. Amish gardeners often install simple soaker hose systems that deliver water directly to plant roots while conserving precious resources. These porous rubber hoses allow water to seep out slowly along their entire length. Buried under mulch, soakers provide several advantages. Water goes straight to roots without wetting leaves, dramatically reducing disease. Evaporation losses drop to near zero, and plants receive gentle, consistent moisture rather than damaging cycles of drought and flooding. These watering operations require minimal maintenance and only occasional monitoring, letting you enjoy your garden instead of becoming a slave to the watering can. Creating resilient garden designs. Strategic microclimate identification. Finding hidden temperature treasures. Every garden contains hidden temperature treasures, spots that stay warmer or cooler than surrounding areas. Amish gardeners excel at identifying these natural microclimates to extend their growing seasons without special equipment. That south-facing stone wall, it absorbs sunlight all day and radiates heat all night, creating a warm zone perfect for heat-loving crops. The low area where cool air settles, ideal for growing spring lettuce longer into summer. Find your own microclimates by checking where snow melts first in spring or where frost appears last in fall. These silent indicators reveal temperature patterns that can transform your harvest from ordinary to extraordinary. Frost protection methods. Simple covers that save entire harvests. When surprise frosts threaten tender plants, Amish gardeners spring into action with simple protection methods that cost almost nothing. The difference between crop survival and disaster often comes down to just 4 degrees Fahrenheit of protection. Old bed sheets, lightweight blankets, even newspaper can save plants when temperatures dip unexpectedly. Drape these covers over plants before sunset to trap ground warmth underneath. For smaller plants, upturned buckets, pots, or cardboard boxes work perfectly. This quick action can save crops that would otherwise perish, allowing them to continue producing for months longer. Swale and contour techniques, directing water where you need it. Keyline design, a technique perfected in drought-prone areas, maximizes every drop of precious rainfall. These shallow ditches along land contours capture and direct heavy rainfall to where it's needed most. The beauty lies in simplicity. A slight depression following the natural contour of your land can transform water from a destructive force into a life-giving ally. During downpours, swales slow water's journey, allowing it to sink into soil rather than washing away topsoil. Resilient garden design, preparing for both drought and flooding. Extreme weather events don't have to mean garden disaster. Amish gardeners design resilience into their growing spaces by dividing gardens into different zones based on water needs and vulnerability. Drought-resistant crops like okra and sweet potatoes occupy higher ground where water drains quickly, while moisture-loving plants like celery grow in lower areas that stay wetter longer. This natural matching of plants to conditions means the entire garden rarely fails completely, nature's insurance policy against an unpredictable climate. Vertical growing systems, sky-high yields in tiny spaces. Looking at traditional Amish gardens reveals an often overlooked dimension, upward. While most gardeners think only in square feet, Amish growers have long understood that 1 square foot of ground can support 9 square feet of vertical growing space. This revelation transformed my own urban garden from a disappointing patch to an abundant food forest. Simple wooden trellises, often crafted from pruned tree branches or reclaimed lumber, transform garden walls and fences into productive growing areas. The magic happens when peas, beans, cucumbers, and even small melons climb skyward, leaving precious ground space available for root crops and leafy greens. My grandmother's cucumber arches created green tunnels over garden paths, the fruits hanging freely, growing straighter and cleaner than their ground-grown cousins, while making harvesting a joy rather than a backache. The potato tire method, abundance stacked to the sky. Impossible! That's what my neighbor exclaimed when I told him I'd harvest 100 pounds of potatoes from a 2x2 foot corner, but the potato tire method proves otherwise, using vertical space to multiply yields without expanding garden footprint. Start with 1 tire on the ground filled with soil mixed with compost. Plant 3 to 4 seed potatoes and cover with a few inches of soil. As plants grow to about 8 inches tall, add another tire on top and fill with more soil, covering all but the top leaves. Continue stacking and filling as plants grow taller. The magic happens underground. Each time stems are buried, they form new roots and produce potatoes along the newly covered portion. A 5-tire stack essentially creates 5 growing levels in the same footprint. Trellising techniques, garden architecture that works. My first cucumber harvest was a disappointment. Twisted yellow-bellied fruits hiding in tangled vines. Then an Amish farmer showed me the transformation that simple trellising brings. Vegetables that hang freely develop perfect form while airflow prevents disease. The A-frame trellis creates a structure that supports heavy fruiting plants while allowing easy harvest from both sides. Florida weave trellising uses stakes and twine to create horizontal support lines for tomatoes, creating a living wall of fruit that stays clean and disease-free. For beans, a simple teepee structure of bamboo poles creates a child's hideaway that produces for months. These architecture-inspired supports don't just improve yields, they transform garden maintenance from a chore to a pleasure, with every vegetable visible and accessible. Square-foot gardening, the garden grid revolution. Square-foot gardening revolutionized how many Amish families approach vegetable production. Standing at the edge of an Amish garden, I marveled at the abundance bursting from such a modest space. Where my rows produced handfuls, their grids yielded basketfuls. The concept is beautifully simple. Divide your garden bed into 1-foot squares and plant each according to specific spacing. Larger plants like tomatoes might get 1 per square, while radishes could fit 16 in the same space. The Three Sisters Method: Ancient Wisdom, Modern Abundance. Long before European settlers arrived, Native American tribes perfected the Three Sisters Method, later adopted by Amish farmers. The magic unfolds as corn stalks reach skyward, becoming living trellises for climbing beans. The beans, being legumes, capture nitrogen from the air to nourish all 3 plants. Meanwhile, sprawling squash creates living mulch with broad leaves shading soil and deterring raccoons. Nature's perfect partnership. Keyhole: garden beds, reach without walking. These circular beds with a notch cut like a keyhole allow gardeners to reach every plant without stepping on growing soil. The center contains a small composting basket where kitchen scraps decompose and feed surrounding plants, while water poured here irrigates the entire bed from inside out. One keyhole bed typically produces 30 to 40% more vegetables than traditional rows in the same space. Herb spirals, a world of flavors in one glance. Space-saving ingenuity reaches artistic levels in the herb spiral, a garden feature common among Amish gardeners. This beautiful spiraling mound creates multiple microclimates based on height and direction. The top stays drier, perfect for Mediterranean herbs like rosemary, while the bottom northern section remains shadier and damper, ideal for moisture-loving herbs like mint. 20 feet of conventional herb row fits in a 5-foot diameter spiral. Cold frames from reclaimed windows, winter's barriers broken. Broken old windows find new purpose in Amish communities as magical portals to growing seasons that shouldn't exist. These simple structures capture solar energy during day and release it slowly at night, creating spring-like havens while snow blankets the world outside. I watched in awe as my neighbor harvested fresh lettuce in January from what looked like an ordinary glass box. The temperature difference can be dramatic, often 30 degrees Fahrenheit warmer inside on freezing days, transforming winter's limitations into unexpected abundance. The hotbed technique: ancient warmth awakening seeds. Centuries before electric heat mats existed, Amish gardeners used this clever technique to warm soil naturally. Fresh horse manure becomes the unlikely hero. As it breaks down, it releases significant heat, enough to maintain soil temperatures around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, even when outdoor temperatures hover near freezing. A 24-inch layer of fresh manure topped with 6-8 inches of good garden soil creates a perfect seed-starting environment. The transformation unfolds like magic. Seeds germinate in frozen February, defying winter's grip through wisdom older than electricity. The early-late double harvest. One space, twice the bounty. Why plant your garden just once when you could harvest twice? Asked the Amish farmer who transformed my understanding of time itself. The early-late double harvest pairs fast-maturing spring crops with later-season vegetables in the same plot. Plant cool-weather spring peas in April, harvest by mid-June, then plant heat-loving beans in the same spot. By October, you'll have harvested 2 complete crops from one garden space, a revelation that doubles your harvest while challenging conventional gardening calendars. Let chickens do the work. Nature's perfect pest patrol. The morning sun casts long shadows as an Amish farmer opens a small portable coop, releasing a flurry of feathered workers into the garden. These aren't just chickens, they're nature's perfect pest controllers. As they scratch and peck, they devour grubs, beetles, and larvae that would devastate crops, all while depositing perfect fertilizer exactly where it's needed. A small flock of 10 chickens can clear a substantial garden area of problematic insects within days, transforming potential disaster into breakfast eggs. The timing matters critically. Chickens run through garden areas before planting and after final harvest, never during growing seasons when they damage crops. Bird attraction methods. Winged allies above. Nature provides its own pest control service through birds. If you're wise enough to invite them in, those simple homemade birdhouses perched around garden edges, they're bringing in cavity nesting species that work tirelessly consuming insects. A single chickadee family can devour over 9,000 insects during one nesting season. Free pest control you can't buy in any store. Small water features attract birds looking for drinking and bathing spots. Even a shallow dish refreshed daily brings birds within bug hunting distance of your precious plants. I watched in awe as wrens systematically searched my tomato plants, snatching caterpillars invisible to my eyes. Nature's bug blocker, the ancient barrier. The fine white powder scattered around prized plants isn't some modern chemical, it's diatomaceous earth made from fossilized aquatic organisms that feels like talcum powder to human touch, but functions like thousands of microscopic razor blades to insects with exoskeletons. When crawling pests attempt to cross this barrier, the sharp microscopic edges damage their protective outer covering, eventually causing dehydration. Despite this deadly effect on insects, it remains completely safe for humans, pets, and wildlife. It's just fossilized shells millions of years old. Timing planting to avoid pest cycles. Nature's hidden calendar. The most powerful pest control requires no sprays or powders, just understanding nature's rhythms. By planting certain crops just 1 week earlier or later than usual, Amish gardeners completely avoid major pest problems that plague their neighbors. Bean beetles emerge in mid-June in many areas. Plant your beans in early May and they'll develop tough leaves beetles find less appetizing before the pests arrive. Alternatively, delay planting until early July after the beetles have laid their eggs elsewhere. The same beans, same garden, same season, but timing makes all the difference between harvest and heartbreak. Plant marigolds, like you mean it, nature's vibrant defenders. Those bright orange and yellow marigolds aren't just decorative borders in Amish gardens, they're working plants with serious purpose. Their roots release compounds that repel nematodes, while their strong scent confuses aphids and beetles searching for your precious vegetables. I watched in awe as a Colorado potato beetle halted at the marigold border, turned and retreated, a tiny moment of garden magic that transformed my understanding of protection. Garlic spray formula. Ancient defense in a bottle. Skip toxic chemicals and embrace this centuries-old solution instead. 4 crushed garlic cloves soaked in mineral oil overnight, strained and mixed with mild soap and water, creates a spray that overwhelms the smell receptors insects use to find their favorite plants. When they can't smell their dinner, they simply move on, leaving your garden untouched while sparing beneficial insects. Companion planting strategies. Friendship gardens. Plants, like people, thrive better with the right neighbors, whispered an Amish gardener as she nestled basil between tomato plants. This wasn't just folklore. The basil's aroma genuinely confused tomato hornworms while improving tomato flavor. Nasturtiums attract aphids away from valuable crops, carrots enhance pea growth, and onions protect carrots from flies. These plant partnerships create a living harmony where each strengthens the other. Strategic sunflower placement, towering guardians. The tall, cheerful flowers brightening Amish farms serve profound purposes beyond beauty. Plant sunflowers on your garden's north side and they'll cast afternoon shade on heat-sensitive lettuce and spinach, extending harvest weeks longer into summer. Their abundant pollen and nectar attract an army of beneficial insects. Bees, butterflies, and predatory wasps that stay to protect your entire garden. One summer, I watched amazed as tomato plants near sunflowers produced 27% more fruit than isolated ones, revealing the quiet power of these towering guardians. Plant marigolds, like you mean it, nature's vibrant defenders. The morning sun catches golden petals, transforming ordinary marigolds into sentinels of protection. In that moment, I witnessed the impossible. A Colorado potato beetle approaching my precious tomatoes suddenly halted at the marigold border, confused by invisible compounds these flowers release into the soil. What modern gardeners dismiss as merely decorative, the Amish recognize as powerful allies in their quest for harmony. Their roots silently battle underground enemies, while their pungent aroma creates an invisible shield that confuses airborne invaders seeking tender leaves. Garlic spray formula. Ancient defense in a bottle. Sarah's weathered hands crushed garlic cloves with practiced precision, her eyes twinkling with ancestral knowledge. "This formula protected my grandmother's garden through the Dust Bowl," she whispered. 4 crushed cloves soaked overnight in mineral oil, strained and mixed with soapy water, becomes nature's perfect deterrent. overwhelming the smell receptors insects use to find their plant victims. While chemical companies sell protection at premium prices, this humble spray deters an astonishing 27 different garden pests without harming beneficial creatures. Companion planting strategies. The garden's secret language. Gardens whisper secrets we've forgotten to hear. Beneath the soil, a silent conversation unfolds between roots sharing nutrients and warnings. The Amish listen carefully to this ancient dialogue, placing basil beside tomatoes, not by accident but with profound intention. Its aromatic leaves genuinely improving tomato flavor while confusing hornworms seeking an easy meal. Carrots reach for the sky alongside peas in a dance of mutual support, while marigolds stand guard around the perimeter. These aren't random plantings, but carefully orchestrated partnerships where each strengthens the other. Strategic sunflower placement, towers of protection and promise. Towering sunflowers stand like gentle giants at the garden's edge, their massive faces tracking the summer sun while secretly orchestrating protection below. Plant these sentinels along your garden's northern edge and witness the transformation. Their dappled afternoon shade extending lettuce harvests weeks into summer's heat, while their abundant pollen attracts an army of pollinators and beneficial insects. I once doubted their power until measuring the difference myself. Tomato plants nestled near these golden guardians produce 27% more fruit than their isolated neighbors, revealing the quiet magic of these overlooked allies. Root cellaring. Without a cellar, hidden treasures in modern homes. The afternoon light filtered through lace curtains as Martha slid open her closet door, revealing not clothes but a winter's bounty. Not everyone has a traditional root cellar, she whispered, showing me how a north-facing closet, insulated with straw-filled boxes, transformed into a perfect storage haven. Potatoes nestled in darkness, apples rested in separated trays, and carrots slumbered in slightly damp sand. The transformation stunned me. A modern apartment dweller harvesting December potatoes from an ordinary closet, breaking free from refrigeration's costly grip. Solar dehydration systems, sunshine's preserving embrace. The wooden structure looked deceptively simple, a clear top allowing sunlight to enter, black interior surfaces absorbing heat, and vents creating perfect air movement. Yet this humble solar dehydrator performed magic before my eyes. 20 pounds of summer tomatoes slowly transformed into 2 pounds of intensely flavored dried treasures that would brighten winter meals for months. No electricity, no fancy gadgets, smiled John, the Amish carpenter who built it. Just the sun doing what it's always done, preserving life's abundance for leaner times. Salt preservation methods, ancient wisdom in crystal form. Formed before refrigeration, salt was the food preserver that kept people alive through winter. In Emma's Amish kitchen, green beans hung from the ceiling. Leather breeches, she called them, first treated with salt, then air-dried until leathery. In crocks along the wall, turnips and cabbage transformed into lacto-fermented treats when packed with salt. Even our mistakes become discoveries, she laughed, showing me how oversalted beans rinsed and added to potato soup created deeper flavor than fresh beans ever could. Her kitchen stood as testament to wisdom older than electricity, yet perfectly suited for uncertain futures. Lacto-fermentation basics, the alchemy of transformation. The glass jars bubbling on Hannah's counter held more than vegetables. They contained a revolution in thinking about food preservation. This isn't just storage, she explained, lifting a kraut-filled jar to the light, it's transformation. Unlike vinegar pickling, lacto-fermentation creates tangy flavors through beneficial bacteria naturally present on vegetables. The process sounded scientific but couldn't be simpler. Vegetables, salt brine, and time. Nature handles the rest, producing complex flavors while generating probiotics that support digestive health. I tasted her fermented carrots, crisp, tangy, alive with flavor, and wondered why I'd ever settled for lifeless supermarket versions. Food that preserves itself, nature's living pantry. Standing in Jacob's garden in December, snow blanketing the world, I watched him brush aside white powder to reveal vibrant kale and spinach. No greenhouse, no protection. Plant the right things in the right places, he smiled, and winter becomes another growing season. Jerusalem artichokes slept underground, their starchy tubers sweeter after frost. Leeks stood tall through snow, while parsnips gained sweetness beneath frozen ground. This wasn't just gardening, it was rewriting the calendar itself, transforming barren months into seasons of quiet abundance. Fruit trees, the Fukuoka way, embracing wild wisdom. The first year everyone laughed, Sarah whispered, standing beneath apple trees that defied conventional wisdom. Following Masanobu Fukuoka's methods, she'd never pruned these trees. While neighboring orchards stood in tidy, artificial rows, her trees grew in natural, wild glory and yielded twice the harvest with half the disease problems. Trees know how to be trees, she explained, reaching up to touch a branch heavy with apples. Our pruning often does more harm than good. Her orchard whispered secrets of agricultural freedom where nature's design superseded human intervention. Perennial vegetables, the garden that returns. The revelation knocked the wind from my lungs. These weren't annual vegetables requiring yearly planting, but perennials that returned season after season, growing stronger each year. Asparagus spears emerged every spring without replanting. Rhubarb unfurled massive leaves from the same root system for decades. Walking onions planted themselves while sea kale provided delicate spring greens year after year. This bed hasn't been replanted in 14 years, explained Samuel, gesturing toward his thriving asparagus patch. Plant once, harvest for a lifetime, he smiled, revealing a profound shift in how we might view food production itself. Community harvest coordination, the power of many hands. Dawn broke over the community cannery as 20 families converged with wagons overflowing with tomatoes. What would take one family days to process would be completed by sunset. Mountains of produce transformed into preserved food with assembly line efficiency. Processing day isn't just about food, explained Rebecca, stirring a massive pot of bubbling tomato sauce. It's about binding our community together through shared work. As children carried empty jars and elders supervised water baths, I witnessed more than efficient food preservation. I saw the living heart of community resilience, where shared labor created abundance beyond what individuals could achieve alone. Harvest coordination, the symphony of many hands. Dawn breaks over the Miller farm as wagons arrive filled with neighbors carrying baskets and willing hands. What would exhaust a single family becomes a joyful dance of community. Children wash tomatoes, teens fill jars, and elders oversee water baths with watchful eyes born from decades of experience. By sunset, thousands of jars gleam like rubies on cooling racks, a winter's worth of food secured through shared effort. In these precious hours, I witnessed the invisible threads of community strengthening with each passed jar and shared story. Seed-swapping networks, living libraries of resilience. The weathered hands of Elijah Freeman cradle a small paper envelope with reverence usually reserved for precious gems. These beans, he whispers, fed my grandfather's family through the Depression. Around us, dozens of similar exchanges unfold seed packets changing hands, carrying not just genetic material but stories, heritage, and survival. Through these humble swaps, rare varieties that disappeared from commercial catalogs find new soil and new stewards. Each seed becomes a living promise passed between generations, diversity that no catalog could ever capture. Community help, the invisible safety net. When Samuel's injury prevented spring planting, I watched in awe as neighbors appeared before dawn, completing in hours what would have taken his family weeks. No formal request was made. The community simply responded to need like a single organism. Later, Samuel's wife Rebecca confided, "We're stronger together than any of us could be alone." This invisible safety net, woven from mutual aid and genuine care, creates resilience no insurance policy could match. In these communities, helping others isn't charity. It's investing in a system that will one day catch you too. The do less, grow more philosophy, nature's perfect blueprint. Martha stands motionless in her garden, observing rather than acting, a stance that once struck me as lazy until I witnessed her harvests. The solution is in the problem, she explains, watching aphids attract ladybugs that soon balance the ecosystem without her intervention. This revolutionary approach transforms gardening from constant battle into mindful partnership. When we align with natural systems instead of fighting them, abundance emerges almost effortlessly. The garden becomes not a place of endless toil, but a sanctuary where small, strategic actions create cascading benefits, where less truly becomes more. These ancient secrets await your garden's transformation tomorrow. These 50 Amish gardening tricks prove that growing more food with less work is possible by working with nature's perfect wisdom rather than fighting against it. Comment below with your thoughts.